Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Samaveta Bhakta Vinda ki jai. All glories assemblies. All glories assemblies. All glories assemblies. All glories of glories to Guru Guru. All glories to Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Read from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, text 2. 3 also? 2 and 3. 2 and 3. So we recite the first one. Sanjaya Vacha. Sanjaya Vacha. Drishtva. Drishtva. Tu. Pandavanikam. Pandavanikam. Yudham. Yudham. Duryodanas. Duryodanas. Tada. Tada. Acharyam. Acharyam. Upasangamya. Upasangamya. Raja. Raja. Vachanam. Vachanam. Apravit. Apravit. Sanjaya Vacha. Sanjaya Vacha. Drishtva Pandavanikam. Drishtva Pandavanikam. Drishtva Pandavanikam. Drishtva Pandavanikam. Yudham Duryodanastata. Yudham Duryodanastata. Yudham Duryodanastada. Yudham Duryodanastada. Acharyam upasangamya. Acharyam upasangamya. Acharyam upasangamya. Acharyam upasangamya. Raja vachanam apravit. Raja vachanam apravit. Raja vachanam apravit. Raja vachanam apravit. Drishtva Pandavanikam. Drishtva Pandavanikam. Yudham Duryodanastata. Yudham Duryodanastata. Acharyam upasangamya. Acharyam upasangamya. Raja vachanam apravit. Raja vachanam apravit.
Sanjaya Vacha.
Sanjaya Vacha.
Drishtva Pandavanikam.
Drishtva Pandavanikam.
अब्रवीत्
दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकम् व्यूढं दुर्योधनस्तदा आचार्यम् उपसंगम्य राजा वचनमब्रवीत्
दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकम् व्यूढं दुर्योधनस्तदा आचार्यम् उपसंगम्य राजवचनमब्रवीत्
संजय उवाच दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकम् व्यूढं दुर्योधनस्तदा आचार्यम् उपसंगम्य राजवचनम् अब्रवीत्
Sanjaya Vacha. Sanjaya said. Drishva. After seeing. Two. What? Pandava Anikam. The soldiers of the Pandavas. Yudham. Arranged in a military palace. Duryodhana. King Duryodhana. Tada. At that time. Acharyam. The teacher. Upasangam ya. Approaching. Raja. The king. Vachanam. Words. Abravit. Spoke. Translation purport by Grace Prabhupada. Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Unfortunately, he was also bereft of spiritual vision. He knew very well that his sons were equally blind in the matter of religion or dharma, and he was sure that they could never reach an understanding with the Pandavas. So that's a problem. Now we brought it out of balance. The balance.
Sit up straight.
Still he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage. And Sanjaya could understand his motive in taking about the situation on the battlefield. Sanjaya wanted therefore to encourage the dependent king, and thus assured him that his sons were not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Sanjaya therefore informed the king that his son Duryodhana, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief Dronacharya and informed him of the real position. Although Duryodhana is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to the commander on account of the seriousness of the situation. He was therefore quite fit to be a politician, but Duryodhana's diplomatic veneer could not disguise the fear he felt when he saw the military arrangement of the Pandavas. Three also. Pashyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Yudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishena Dhimata. O my teacher, he spoke, the king Duryodhana, Behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupat. Duryodhana, a great diplomat, wanted to point out the defect of Dronacharya, the great Brahmana commander-in-chief. Dronacharya had some political quarrel with King Drupat. This happened in the past. The father of Draupadi, who was Arjuna's wife. As a result of this quarrel, Drupat performed a great sacrifice, by which he received the benediction of having a son and who would be able to kill Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew this perfectly well, and yet as a liberal Brahmana, he did not hesitate to impart all his military secrets within the son of Drupat. Drishtadyumna was entrusted to him for military education. Now, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Drishtadyumna took the side of the Pandavas, and it was he who arranged for their military balance, after having learned the art from Dronacharya. Duryodhana pointed out this mistake of Dronacharya's so that he might be alert and uncompromising in the fighting. By this he wanted to point out also that he should not be similarly lenient in battle against the Pandavas, who were also Dronacharya's affectionate students. Arjuna especially was his most affectionate and brilliant student. Duryodhana also warned that such leniency in the fight could lead to defeat. Also read the first verse. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the arranged military formation by the son of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupat. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. So Bhagavad Gita is part of the Mahabharata. It's a great epic. There are two great epics of Indian history. Ramayana, telling the story of Lord Ramachandra, who appeared in the lunar dynasty, and the other one is Mahabharata, narrating the story of Krishna and especially his devotees, the Pandavas. So Krishna appeared in the solar dynasty, and Lord Ramachandra in the Krishna in the lunar dynasty, and Lord Ramachandra in the solar dynasty, sun god, and Krishna from moon god. He's the supreme Lord. So the whole topic of Mahabharata is about this history, mainly about the history of the Pandavas. And Bhagavad Gita is a part of it. This great battle of Kurukshetra is fully described in the chapters of the war, where the war is described. This war endured 18 days only. Nowadays wars go much longer, 4 years, 6 years. Nowadays we have smaller wars all over the world, practically always going on. More than 4, 5, 6 years, since long time. Some place ending, some place we're starting again. It's a material world. There's many wars. Peace and war. Or war and peace. So that's unavoidable in the material world. Somehow, because it is the world of the duality, there's always somebody fighting for superiority about others who have the power or who are from whom they like to take something away. So there's nothing new in the world history today and 5,000 years ago and even millions of years ago. There were always some battles somewhere in this world, on the earth and even in the universe. There were battles also between the devas, the demigods, and the demons, the asuras. Always fighting for superiority. Who can be the most powerful one? So that's nothing new. But especially in this history or of this war description, battle description of Mahabharata is because the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally plays a big role in this battle. Although he didn't fight it himself. Krishna, he says in the Bhagavad Gita, I'm neutral, I'm sama. Sama means equal to everyone. But so he is not taking any side, not the side of the demigods, also not the side of the demons. He is not taking the side of the good guys and also not the side of the bad guys. Because God is good and he is in everyone's heart. He's also in the heart of the bad guys or the demons. And as such, he is neutral. He fulfills everyone's desire. He makes arrangements. He doesn't want to have war. War is appearing because of interactions of the gunas and of misusing of our free will. Therefore, there is always some fighting, struggling going on, either outside of us, between people and people, communities and communities, even neighbors amongst the neighbors, countries with other countries, and even in our own self, war is going on. Of the senses, with the mind and the intelligence, if they have not a clear line. Harmony. There is no harmony in society, but it's actually very difficult to attain the paradise or the shanti situation, peace. That only the self-controlled personality can realize and experience. But they're mostly rare, the dhiras, those who are sober, those who are not agitated by the senses and by external or internal agitations. So they stay always sober. They're called yogi. So they're self-controlled. But most of the world are not yogis. They're yogis. Opposite. They're not interested in self-control, they're more interested in sense gratification. They want to enjoy the senses as much as they can, even on the cost of others' life, and even by war, so that they can get maximum amount of sense gratification. And this is always going on. So Krishna is not interested in these kinds of duality, to interfere, because he's anyway there as a super soul and he's guiding everyone, bringing them together and separating them and bringing them together with others. So that's a samsara. According to our karma, we meet somebody who is your friend, somebody who is your enemy. But due to the time force, and the gunas again separate everything, destroy all our plans and all our different situations. And then, because we take the mentality with us, what we have in this life, what we developed in this life, the next life, we're going on with the same struggle. That's the problem with the conditioned soul. They always go from one struggle to another. As long as we come to the peace formula, to attain inner peace by cooperating with the super soul within the heart, and also externally accept the direction of the super soul by spiritual master and by scriptural injunctions, shastra, we can never learn how to control senses. So, although Krishna is not on any one side, bad or so-called good, because bad and good is both the same. Because one time, the bad guy maybe will become a good guy in future lives, and the so-called good guy will become in next lifetime do his karma. He's doing some bad. So therefore there's always this duality. So when Krishna is not interfering. Why Krishna interfered in this war, or with this war? Because there were his great devotees, his eternal associates, entangled in this war with the opposite, with the Kauravas, headed by Duryodhana, whom we speak here about, who approached his teacher, the Guru, Dronacharya. So Arjuna Pandava, he was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, and it was Krishna's promise that my devotee will not become vanquished. I will personally take care, I will protect him. So therefore Krishna told Arjuna, you can choose, you can either have me or you can have an army, my personal army, a whole army. That means a whole phalanx of how it's called? Huh? Akshalhini. Of soldiers and elephants and horses and chariots and different kinds of weapons. You can have, or you can have me. This Duryodhana also knew. Actually, Duryodhana and Arjuna were like brothers in the same family line. They're called the Kurus, coming from Kuru dynasty. But Duryodhana also knew about that, because Arjuna and Duryodhana and his brothers and Pandava brothers, 5 of them, they were originally brothers, like friends. But somehow or other there was a twist between them, because they had 2 different kinds of fathers. Duryodhana's father was Dhritarashtra, who was blind by birth, and the Pandava's father was Pandu, who was the brother of Dhritarashtra. But because he died prematurely, Pandu died, so the 5 sons had no father, only one mother, Kunti. But and therefore the 5 sons became entrusted to the king, Dhritarashtra, who was blind. Unfortunately, he was blind, therefore he was not able to be actually the real king. Although he was the eldest son amongst 3 of them, who were the descendants in the Kuru line. But he was not able to become king because he was blind. So Pandu became king. But when Pandu died, Dhritarashtra got the opportunity to be the king. Because the next elder son, the next son will come. Because the 3rd one was Vidura. And Vidura was considered Kshatriya Bandhu. He was not a pure Kshatriya, because his mother was a Shudrani, a maidservant. And therefore he could not take the throne, he could not become the king. So the only king in this amongst these three brothers was for temporary time, Dhritarashtra. The promise or the idea was Dhritarashtra will take care for 5 Pandavas who actually would become the next kings, especially Yudhishthira, because they were the sons of Pandu. So naturally they would become the next king. But because when Pandu died, they were still young boys, so they were not able to take the throne, to take the kingdom. So therefore Dhritarashtra temporarily was empowered by the sages to be the king, but also take care of the Pandavas, to train them and take nicely care of them, that when they're grown up, he should give the kingdom to them. But in the meantime, because he himself had sons, 100 of them, and one of them was Duryodhana, the leader. And Duryodhana, somehow or other, he was very, very jealous. He was very jealous against the Pandavas, because he knew they will become the next king. And they had many good qualities that he didn't have. Especially Bhimasen. He was very, very strong. Many times they had quarreled with each other, and Bhimasen always, smashed him. And that was always a thorn in his eye, this Bhimasen. And he swore, if I have opportunity, I will make arrangement that I rid this world, from these 5 Pandavas. I will remove them. I cannot see them. As long they are prosperous, as long they are nicely situated and will take over the kingdom, I cannot live anymore. And that his father knew very well. Dhritarashtra, he knew that, because he told him, I cannot live with these Pandavas. And because Duryodhana's father, he was of course very much also attached to his personal son, blood son. So therefore he took side of him, but he actually should not do. That was a big mistake. Dhritarashtra took side of his own sons, headed by Duryodhana, and he neglected the Pandavas, and he even supported his son in his evil plans, to remove the Pandavas from the world, to kill them. He even supported, but he actually should not do, the king, because he was only temporary, and he knew the Pandavas should become the next kings. Yudhishthira. And this went on for many, many years. The Pandavas lost in gambling match, they were challenged. Then again they got the kingdom back because of clever Draupadi, and they got the kingdom back. Then again they lost. And that time they had to go 12 years in exile. And 1 year they had to live incognito, the 13th year, incognito. And the deal was, if somebody will find them again, or see them somewhere in this world, in this 1 year of exile, incognito, to live incognito, then they have to go back again 12 years in exile, in the forest. So the Kaura was, they tried anything to somehow or other get rid of these Pandavas, send them in exile, but they survived in these 12 years by the mercy of Krishna and the sages and Vidura, who helped them in many different ways, and also of destiny, that means God's mercy and arrangement. And the 13th year in incognito, they also survived. Nobody could find them. So then they came out from successful after the 13th year. They returned back to Hastinapur, to the capital, and they told, so we are here, so we want to have the kingdom. But Duryodhana, he was so arrogant, and he put the king, he influenced the king so much that he thought, no, he will not get the kingdom. But then ultimately, the king, because Krishna was also present, so Krishna also explained them, you have to give them something, because they are the rightful heirs of Pandu, of the Kuru dynasty. So you have to give them a share, you have to give them land. So then Dhritarashtra told, okay, we are parting the cake. The whole kingdom was like that. We make half. Of course, the better half he kept for himself, for his sons, and the bad part, this other half, was actually a desert, who became known as Indraprastha. Hastinapur was the capital, but this Indraprastha was actually a desert. There was nothing growing there. But then again, by Krishna's arrangement, there was rain coming, and the place became even more opulent and nice in cultivation. A nice assembly hall appeared, arranged from the heavenly planets, or built by Maya Danava. And so this place became even more opulent, more great than that of the Kauravas, Hastinapur, and it was became known as Indraprastha. That's a story in itself, but I cannot explain all the details because of time factor. So, so what happened is when Duryodhana found out, that the Pandavas also that they have a kingdom now, he was curious and wanted to see their assembly hall and how the city was looking. And he became so perplexed, so much amazed about the beauty and the opulence of this kingdom, of these palaces, that he became even more jealous. He became so jealous, he returned back and he told his father, now I have enough. We have to get rid of these Pandavas completely now. We have to make a war. So Duryodhana, he wanted to make the war. He especially. And so therefore there was again the challenging. He again called the Pandavas gambling match, second one, because Yudhisthira, because they were all Kshatriyas, warriors, gambling. If there's a challenge in gambling, you cannot say no, so he had to accept. Although Yudhisthira was not known as a good gambler, so he was not good, but he could not say no. So he already lost last time, so he came again, and this time again he lost. He lost, and everything was gone. So they lost the whole Indraprastha. And then this actually happened. Then they had to go in exile, and then they came back. But then Duryodhana, he told, I don't want to give you anything anymore now. Not even as much land as there is placed under the tip of a needle. So not even 5 villages he wanted to give. Krishna, he played the messenger. He himself went to Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra, and requested them, please make peace with the Pandavas, give them 5, they're satisfied with 5 villages. But Duryodhana said, no, not even 1 millimeter, not even 1 millimeter, not even one sand grain of land I will give them. I will not tolerate that. So then Krishna, he returned, he tried his best to make the peace. Even Krishna wanted to make peace, but it was not successful. So then the war ultimately happened. Duryodhana, he thought, we will anyway win. We will win. Especially when he heard that Krishna wants to ask Arjuna, about choosing him or his army. So both of them were invited to meet Krishna in the morning when he woke up. And Duryodhana was a little faster. He thought, I want to be the first one before Arjuna comes, because if I'm first, Krishna will turn to me first and then will ask me, first, what I want. So I, of course, I don't want him. I want to have his army. That was the idea, Duryodhana. So what happened? He came first, and Arjuna came a little later. But the mistake was Duryodhana, he took a place on Krishna's side, where he had his head. And Arjuna, when he came, although he came later, he was sitting down at Krishna's lotus feet. when he was lying, taking rest. So when Krishna raised his head, where he looks first, not on the side, not on the right side, not on the left side, he looks down to his feet. So he doesn't see Duryodhana, he sees Arjuna and says, "Oh Arjuna, how you decided? Me or the army? Krishna's personal army. Yadus, big powerful fighters." Arjuna cried and said, "I don't need this army. I don't need your army. Only want to have you." Duryodhana, he already giggled inside. Oh, this fool Arjuna. So now he anyway will become even now he has even less chance, that he will win against us, because we are in superiority. We have 11 Akshahinis and these Pandavas, I don't know how many they have. They didn't even know that they also have some Akshahinis. Actually, they got 7 together, but still, I would say it was one side. Kauravas was 11. It was practically 50% more soldiers were on the Kaurava side than on Pandava side. So then Krishna turned to Duryodhana, realized that he's also here. "Oh, Duryodhana, so that means we have the chance now. You can have the army." So I was very happy. Yes, now I take the army. Although Krishna told I will not fight, I will stay neutral. But then he became the charioteer, Parthasarathi of Arjuna. This is actually a Shudra job, so servant's job. So Krishna is so wonderful. He's the Supreme Personality of God, and out of affection to his devotee, Arjuna, he took an inferior role, accepted an inferior role for the pleasure of his devotee. So wherever there is Krishna, there is also the goddess of fortune. There is Jaya, there is Vijaya, there is victory. There's all mystical powers, and all auspiciousness is there. So wherever Krishna is, even there is not the army, the opposite side, even they're much stronger, they will become destroyed, they will lose. Hare Krishna, Rake Krishna, Mareke. When Krishna decides that somebody is killed, even if they are trying to arrange all kinds of things, that they not be killed, nobody can save them. And if Krishna likes somebody to protect, even if the whole world is against him, nobody can touch him. So in this way, the Kauravas had 12 Akshahinis, 11, and 7 on Pandava's side. Total 18 Akshahinis were on Kurukshetra. That means millions of soldiers. And this concept, Prabhupada told it's actually one of the biggest wars in the history. And these soldiers were not just, drafted people, young people from the university, like in America or in other countries. They draft people to join the army by propaganda, or picking them up at home, or canvassing to them, come to army now, because after you go to army, you get everything. You get pension, you get house, you get car, you get insurance, everything will be solved. Your whole life will be arranged, Just serve the army, for a certain amount of years, 2 years, 4 years, like that. Then everything, then the country will take care of you personally. So this is this was the situation. So the war started. That means Kurukshetra was chosen. Kurukshetra is actually considered a holy place. Dharmakshetra, because already in the previous ages, previous time, many saintly persons and great personalities performed yagyas there and tapasya, It is also related with Parusharam, Kurukshetra. So it is a Dharma Kshetra, it's a very pious place, a place of religion, of piety. Krishna also brought his family members, the Kurus, the Yadus, to Kurukshetra on the solar eclipse to do yajna, the pious activity and charity. So it's very good, for good karma. Because India is a good land, for good karma, to develop good karma, to also take birth with good karma, so to become elevated. So it was a very auspicious place, and therefore actually not a proper place not to make a war. Therefore the influence of the place itself, because the place is holy, it's not a battlefield. It changes the people. And the result will be very beneficial for everyone. And because Krishna was himself there, and Arjuna and the Pandavas, this holy place became even more significant of their presence. So anyway, these two armies or sides were arranged. 11 Akshahinis on Duryodhana's side, 7 Akshahinis on Pandava's side. The Pandavas, they choose the Drishtadyumna as their leader, as their commander-in-chief. And the Kauravas, they choose the Dronacharya as the commander-in-chief. Interesting with Drishtadyumna is that he's the son of Drupad. Little history, just short. And Drupad and Dronacharya, who was on the other side, and Drupad, who had the son Drishtadyumna, they were actually in their childhood very good friends, very good friends. And but the problem was they had different castes. Drona was a Brahmana, and Drupad was a Kshatriya. So Drupad, he actually would become the next king, and he promised his friend, if we are grown up, we are the same age, if we are grown up, you come to my kingdom and we share the kingdom, I will give you half of it, right? I will give you half of my kingdom. So Drona didn't forget that, because Brahmanas are mostly not rich, they're poor. They don't have much, I would say, money and land like that. Only what they get, from yagyas and from their by donations sometimes, So, but in general, they're not very rich. So one time, Drona, he remembered that when he was grown up and he was in scarcity. So okay, I have a good friend. He remembered the whole time, about their promise. So he went to the kingdom of Drupad, and he approached King Drupad, he became king in the meantime, and he asked him, you remember me? I'm your good old friend, Drona. But Drupad says, who are you? Who are you? I'm a king, you're a Brahmana, and you come now, and then because Dronacharya wanted to remind him about this share, half of the kingdom. So then Drupad became very agitated, and he chastised Drona, and that I will not give you anything, because we are not from the same race, from the same class, I'm a Kshatriya, you are a Brahmana. So why should I give you half of my kingdom? What you will do with it as a Brahmana? Performing yajna everywhere, or I don't know, cultivating cows, and then because I have a kingdom, so I have to rule that, and you cannot rule it, you don't have the power for that. Send him away. You just give him something to eat. But wanted to offer him something. But Drona was so agitated because he was a Brahmana. The quality of a Brahmana is the truth. honesty. So when he saw that his old friend,
Is this still on?
when he realized, that his old friend deviated from the dharma of honesty, satyam, so he declared, I want to conquer his kingdom and take him everything away. Not only half, I will take him everything. So he was so agitated. So then because Drona became very prominent, because he was a good teacher in martial art, Dhanurveda, and he became very popular. So all the princes in that time, went to him to the school. The Pandavas, Arjuna, all the 5 Pandavas, and also the Kauravas headed by Durida. They all learned the art of fighting, martial art, different kinds of weapons, how to produce Brahmastra with mantra, like that, release atomic weapons with mantra, like that. He knew the art, and he could teach his disciple this secret science of Dhanurveda. And in this way he got all the Kauravas, Pandavas and Kauravas on his side. At that time they were still friends. They were together, and because they were young princes, teenagers. So there was not a problem at that. The split didn't happen at that time. So he told, after the lesson, after the studying was through, for certain years, 4 years or like that, they studied the Dhanurveda, and he taught them everything. Arjuna became his favorite disciple because he became so perfect in the Dhanurveda and also releasing the arrows. Not only one arrow at one time, many arrows with mantras, like that. So then when the disciples going out of Gurukula and they finished with their lessons, education, then the Guru asked them for Guru Dakshin. So the princes want to give him Guru Dakshin. So the Duryodhana told, my Guru Dakshin, what I want from you is, you have to go and attack Drupad's kingdom and take him away everything and give it to me. So they were all, meantime, big Kshatriyas, very ambitious and powerful, unconquerable, these Kauravas and the Pandavas. So easily they took over Drupad's, his army and everything, and they gave it to Drona. Drona, he went to his friend, his old friend Drupad, and he told, that's a heavy tree. And he told, so Drupad, you were not honest, but I still want to be honest. So I want to be honest, and I want to share with you. I want to share with you. I give you half of the kingdom, and I take my half. But actually, this was too heavy for a Kshatriya. This deal, because it completely broke his Kshatriya pride, and therefore, when he promised, now I will kill this Drona. But how to kill him? Because there was no body in this world. How this actually can always break.
Find out what the connection is and
It's
see
not
if
my
it's
fault.
connected properly. Along the wire, there's a connection.
So, what actually happened is he arranged for a yagya, for a sacrifice, to create a son who will become so powerful and he will become known as an enemy of Drona, to kill Drona. And when this yagya successfully was performed, not only one son appeared, one male boy appeared from the fire, but also a girl. So the male became known as Drishtyadumna, and he would become the enemy of Drona. So his destiny was to kill actually Drona. It was for sure that it will happen. And his sister, who also came out of this fire, from this yagya, became known as Draupadi. Later on she became the wife of the Pandavas. They won her in the Swayamvar ceremony, where she could choose her husband in a combat. That's a story for itself, takes too much time. So anyway, Draupadi and Dhritarashtra were born. And both of them, actually the problem is here, I think, contact. Both of them became very much related and sympathetic, and also related to the Pandavas. Draupadi married the Pandavas, and Drishtyadumna and also Drupad joined the Pandavas when the battle appeared against the Kauravas. So Drupad and his son Drishtyadumna joined the Pandava side. Drishtyadumna, but the interesting story here is what Prabhupada also mentioned is when the time was for Drishtyadumna to teach also the lessons of Dhanurveda, to learn that, he was also sent to Drona. And although Drona knew that this person will actually be his dad, he will kill him, he didn't hesitate to accept him as a disciple. So he accepted him as a disciple and taught him all the secrets of the Dhanurveda, although he knew he will kill him. And that is the point why Duryodhana, he reprimanded, he chastised in a diplomatic way his teacher, and told him, just see what is clever, is very clever, what your disciple, the clever son of Drupad, Drishtyadumna, what kind of big phalanx, what kinds of big army actually demonstrated and established here on the battlefield. So he was amazed. He was amazed. And because first he didn't realize that there are so many. And especially when he saw, because the phalanxes, there are different kinds of arrays of phalanxes, the whole sides, what the martial art or the military art, and how they learn from their teacher. So when he saw, that was not just a foolish war of some neophytes or some students or some volunteers, who just like crazy wanted to battle on the battlefield and kill others. No, all these warriors were highly educated. They were real kshatriyas, from the head to the bottom, full blood. No, they were not renegades. They were not weaklings. They were very strong soldiers. Every one of them was at least a Maharati. Maharati means he can fight with 10,000 soldiers. And Atirati means he can fight with more than 10,000 soldiers. And there was also an Ekarati. He could at least fight with one. So the Pandava side, when Duryodhana saw that there were also many Maharatis and even Atiratis are right there, and in very, very intelligent way, how he established his army, his phalanxes, he became amazed. So he became a little skeptical. Because Dhritarashtra had a question to Sanjaya, what my sons did on the battlefield of Kurukshetra in the holy field. What they actually did. What happened? Because Dhritarashtra, he was very eager to have the war. Because it was for his interest, because his sons will become the kings. So therefore, Dhritarashtra's son, although he was not the king at that time, the Raj, he is addressed here as Raj because he was practically acting as a Raj. So it was in his hand now, in Duryodhana's hand now, what he will do. Will he make peace with them on the battlefield, or will he fight? That was the big question. Therefore, the Dhritarashtra was doubtful. Of course, he hoped he will fight, but then he was scared. Maybe they also will make peace because the clever Krishna was there, and he maybe will again try to convert him, his intention, and maybe will make him peaceful, that they will share the kingdom. So he was quite afraid of that. But then when he heard, that Sanjaya, when Sanjaya, the secretary who had transcendental vision, telepathic vision, he could see everything what is in the battlefield, although he was in the palace with the king. So he in his trance, he could see everything what was going on. So he told him, oh now, your son, Duryodhana is now going to his teacher and challenges him, what kind, just see, what kind of army that your clever disciple, what you himself teach him, and now you will see, he maybe will defeat you. He will defeat you because he appeared in this world, to defeat you, to kill you. And so he reprimanded him, it's actually your fault. But this is also Kshatriya way, Kshatriyas, they have the quality, to agitate, to force. So he wanted actually only to tell to his teacher, to force him more up, fire him up for this war, that he will not make a mistake again to make peace or become lenient or sympathetic to the Pandavas or to Duryodhana, to Drishtadyumna, because of that they are your disciples. Don't be sympathetic to them. You should fight. So as Prabhupada is pointing out here, Duryodhana was very clever, and he was a diplomat, and that's very good quality for a Kshatriya, for a leader, that he is diplomatic, that he is clever, and especially that he also approached his teacher, his guru, that he was loyal to him and tried to give him get advice and help from him, because he knew that without the help of Dronacharya, our army will not have a chance, because he is the natural leader, the teacher of every one of us. So he was very happy actually that he will guide them as the warrior, the general on the battlefield, the commander-in-chief, to lead them to victory. But as the plan was, Drona fell, he died on the battlefield, killed by Drishtadyumna, and then the next would be the next general, Bhishma came, and Karna ultimately in the end. They were fighting until the end, They took outside of against the Pandavas, even Bhishma Dev, although he was a great personality. And as Arjuna's grandson, Parikshit Maharaj, in the 10th canto at the beginning, was telling, actually, in comparison with the army of the Pandavas, of my grandfather's army, the army of the Kaura was like a big ocean of Timingila fishes, of very huge fishes who swallow the whales, big whales and sharks. But my grandfather, and all his soldiers on his side, they were practically only sharks, little fishes. And therefore all these Timingila fishes were all very many big generals like Bhishma, Karna, Drona. They were big Timingila fishes. And my grandfather and all his alliance, they're just like sharks. But by the mercy of Krishna, they could conquer this big ocean and all these Timingila fishes, and they cross over the other side, like somebody can cross over the water contained in the hoofprint of a calf. They were very easily could conquer this army of the Kauravas and become victorious. And it's actually Gita Jayanti, should be soon, not?
13th.
13th December is Gita Jayanti, where the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So it is traditional in ISKCON that we are distributing Bhagavad Gitas in this time. So you can prepare yourself already to get some Gitas and share, distribute it to your friends, family members, or even go out to people and give them Bhagavad Gita, at least one. So this is very beneficial because Prabhupada told this book distribution is also like a war. Srila Prabhupada was our general, the Jaina Pati Bhakta. He was the general amongst the devotees, empowered general, who could empower so many devotees in this mission, creating spiritual warriors, in distributing his books and distributing them all over the world in so many languages, in so many incredible places. And Maya, the material world, is controlled by Maya. She is a big Timingila fish. And we are little fishes, and not even sharks. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we can become instrumental in this mission and do something very wonderful, something very incredible, something actually impossible. It's an impossible mission, but the impossible mission, like the Kauravas mission was impossible, the Pandavas mission was impossible from the external point of view, but they became victorious. Because in the Sankirtan is a supreme victory, Param Vijayate Krishna Sankirtan. So if we surrender to this Sankirtan as given by Paramparam, by Srila Prabhupada, by Lord Chaitanya's mercy and Nityananda, we can become strong enough to actually conquer this evil age of Kali, this dark age of Kali, and bring sunshine, light in this dark age by giving this knowledge that we are not this body, that we are spirit soul, that we are eternal servants of Krishna, and that we should chant Hare Krishna. So therefore this book distribution and preaching and sharing Krishna consciousness with whomever you meet and wherever you go is very important. And everyone can take part. You don't have to become Maharati or Atirati or even Ekarati. Every soldier is welcome. Everyone who volunteer to participate in this book distribution. Now it's also marathon starting for a whole month. So it's a very good opportunity, at least one time a year to going out and doing something for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas. Because in the end of the Gita, Krishna says, nobody is more dear than he who is distributing, who is sharing this Bhagavad Gita, this confidential talk between me and Arjuna to my devotee. Who is devotee and who is not devotee, we don't know. We will find out if you go out with the books. There are more devotees out than we think. We only have to find them. The books will guide us to the people. Because they are Krishna himself. They will guide us to the people who will take the books. So just try it and become instrumental, and you will see it's a very blissful job, very blissful, ecstatic service. And even if you can distribute a few books, 1, 2, or 10, or whatever, you will feel happy and you will feel, that's the best thing what you ever did in your whole life. So, Hare Krishna. Krantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nityananda Prabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitya Gaur Premanandi, Hare Hare Bol.